Pleasure to be here today with Caroline Drummond MBE, Chief Executive of the Leaf business. Caroline, we're virtually halfway through 2015, which has been an incredible year in the respect of retail turmoil and supplier pressure. What are the views of Leaf as to what's happened this year and potentially what's going to happen the rest of the year, and how's that going to affect Leaf?
Well, a huge challenge within the fresh produce sector and obviously the whole retailer sector, whether it be milk sector or whether it be the fresh produce sector, right through to potatoes as well. For us as an organisation, I think it's we've seen a lot of storms sort of come and go, and in fact, actually to a degree, the retailers ebb and flow in terms of their sort of strengths and their positioning. But what we're seeing now is a very different situation with the discounters. But actually, what's key is the core values of what Leaf's about in terms of sustainability, which is economically viable farming systems, good environmental responsibility and actual social engagement are probably even more important now. Because what we've got to do is, this level of low-cost food production is at a huge cost to, the environment. It's also a huge social cost. So what's going to be increasingly critical is actually the industry coming together more effectively to understand how do we position food, nutrition, diet, health, education all together in the future, because we're just going to keep on getting these sort of volatility challenges.
So Caroline, with the volatility that is happening, do you think this is going to be mostly on behalf of Leaf advantageous to Leaf?
I think yes. We have to have farming systems that are productive and responsible in terms of good environmental performance, and this has to be across the globe. And the UK is, what we have demonstrated through very many different ways and approaches, and with the retail chains over the last 20 years, is actually, world class. And to duplicate that sort of approach on a global scale is going to be very important. So, we do need to be able to be in a position where we can share such sort of good moral farming systems, and in addition to that, actually learn from the best practice on a global scale as well. So I think yes, it would be without a doubt advantageous to us.
So from a supplier perspective, as we were talking about earlier, you're very front of house, you're very well known in the sector, but some suppliers who may not have seen you present or heard of you recently, what would your advice be as to, how to survive 2015?
It's a bit like getting fit at the end of the day. It's making sure you know what your focus is, and that's something that's very key. Very many of the farmers that we work with, they know what their market is. They want long-term relationships, and actually we're starting to see again some of these longer-term relationships develop, with the retailers creating their own groups of farmers. And what's important is to position yourself into where you want your business to be. Monitoring and evaluation, so things like the Leaf tools, the Leaf Sustainable Farming Review, is a great way of kind of just taking a health check at the end of the day for your farming system. What are you good at? And you think, yes, I'm doing all that. Those areas that you think need to do a little bit more, and those areas that you haven't thought about, because if it's in the Leaf Sustainable Farming Review, chances are these are the sort of issues that are going to be facing farmers in the future. And then in addition to that, so monitoring is absolutely key, and precision farming, the attention to detail demanding of integrated farm management is very, very important. And know what your weaknesses are. And actually try and work on those in terms of either, this is my weakness. If it's a really big weakness, but move into another area. Or if there's something that you can do to address it, bring in expertise to help you address that.
I love your analogy about being fit, to survive 2015, be fit. In some respects, does that mean have a plan? Because the better businesses that we come across, that we work with, they'll have a plan. They have a plan for 2020, and they'll, not religiously, but they'll keep on monitoring it, whilst the businesses that we see suffer don't seem to have a plan. They seem to stutter from day to day to week to week.
Absolutely. Plans are absolutely key.
Okay.
And also having a sort of contingency plan alongside that, because I think this is, you know, what we have seen. You wouldn't have been able to predict where the retailer sector are now, or indeed, you know, the changes we've seen in the fresh produce sector and also the pig and poultry sector actually recently, well, over the last 5 years. So it's kind of knowing what your contingency plan is to either sort of adapt, you know, change, or actually sort of think, right, this, you know, this business, we need a merger or a different way of doing things.
Okay, so that's the advice to the suppliers. What's your advice to the retailers?
The retailers, I think, gosh, you know, that's always going to be a challenge, but I think the retailers recognise how important partnerships are. Okay. You know, Leaf, for example, you know, we're in for the long run. Our whole values and our, you know, core drive towards sustainability is something that's been central to our work for over 25 years now, and moving forward. So developing realistic partnerships is something that we value already with many of the retailers and processors as well. I think it's actually understanding a little bit more about where farmers are coming from is again, that's very key. You know, I'm married to a farmer. I know what it's like on a day-to-day basis, but actually you can often forget that very quickly if you're sort of in your office for too long, about some of the real challenges that happen out in the field on a day-to-day basis. So it's making sure that, you know, when it looks to develop a farming system that is fit for the future, that actually produces nutritionally enhanced food, the right sort of food, it's very key, and we have to do that together. And that's where the retailers have been hugely innovative in supporting farmers for new research and, of course, new partnerships.
So with Leaf assisting the suppliers and assisting the retailers, can Leaf be the catalyst to bring suppliers and retailers together for that longevity? To survive 2015 and beyond?
Definitely, and we've seen some really good examples over recent years as well with some of the processors and in fact the retailers that we've been working with, and we really value those partnerships, and it helps. And those farmers that kind of get it, it's a huge advantage to their business. Okay,
so the conclusion from Leaf is be fit, be a fitter supplier business, look at partnerships, work with Leaf. Leaf will work with the retailers, and hopefully success and long-term sustainable farming, fresh produce growth and production will come through yourselves.
We hope so, yes, and we're very much up for that.
Fantastic. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.